Is nostalgia ruining creativity in movies? I say no. I think nostalgia, especially in the entertainment industry, brings an emotional connection to the movies. It brings the audience in. They're able to relate to these familiar characters, stories, and themes on a personal level. They have a history with it. There's like an experience there. And it is multi-generational, especially in animated movies. It engages new audiences while bringing in old audiences that are familiar with it. And it works, but you don't have to take my word for it. Let's look at Zootopia 2. Zootopia 1 made $1 billion in the box office, and almost 10 years later, Zootopia 2 made $1.7 billion in the box office. That growth shows a demand. And when these movies succeed, they provide financial stability to the movie studios. And when they have more money, they can make more projects, so they can make new stories in the future. Nostalgia is fueled by familiarity, and that's a proven strategy in the movie industry.
And while nostalgia might maybe it can reimagine different experiences that different generations have gone through, but I do think that some movies that are based off of remakes or just a reboot of a different movie, they may be just quick money grabs for different corporations. And I do think that they can be like influential and that they can have different and new themes that they can introduce, but I just think it might be a lazy way to make movies instead of trying to bring in more people that might have different ideas or aspects to bring to the movie. So do I think that creativity is, like especially with remakes, do I think that creativity is a little bit diluted? Yes. Especially because the film industry is flooded with different types of remakes nowadays, it can discourage studios from taking creative risks rather than taking in different ideas from different perspectives nowadays. And new creators and writers now in the industry can't or have a hard time getting into the industry because they're using their reliable IPs based off of their earlier films that got their success. But meaning can't just come from original storytelling, but it can also come from original, bold storytelling. And I think that narrows creative diversity, and that I think that they may play it safe when they try to remake a movie.
Well, I think nostalgia and familiarity work because they're reliable. They create new jobs and they reduce financial risk for studios. So the more money they make in these projects, the more able to make new ones in the future, new original ones in the future. So do you think that the money they're getting from these nostalgia projects can't fund more new original projects in the future?
I mean, I personally think that they can generate profits so that they can make more original storytelling movies. But I just think that because it is just a remake of something else that they've already done in the past, that it just might be a better option to take a risk and try and make new ideas rather than remakes of new ones. So if nostalgia is beneficial, then why are audiences increasingly criticizing films for being too repetitive and unoriginal?
Well, I think that comes down to the quality of the movie. If a movie's bad, then I don't think that it's going to have a good critique anyway. So I don't think we should be critiquing the content of the movies, more the quality of them. Do you not think that using existing characters and stories is a form of creativity?
I feel like you can use original characters to make new different types of themes throughout your movie and different types of storytelling, but I just believe that they should be trying to introduce more new characters rather than just remaking what they already have and what has worked for them in the past. Should box office success really be the main measure of creativity or profitability?
I don't think box offices should rule creativity, but I definitely think they go hand in hand, because if you don't have the money from the box offices, the studios can't make new movies. So no matter what, like, you have to have success in the box office to make more projects, and I don't think it should like be the main decider of creativity though. Do you not think new audiences should and are going to like the new stories and have the experience of experiencing these stories that other people have already like had before.
Yeah, I think it is a good thing for new generations, especially to experience some of the nostalgia of the younger generations. But I think that using those older stories, especially now where it might be seen as offensive to some different people, it can be taken out of the plot and just kind of ruin the more nostalgia for especially the older generations and have a different experience for them. At what point does giving audiences what they want become recycling the past instead of moving culture forward?
Well, I think ultimately people make movies for the audience, and so that's the main driving force behind it. So I think you should give the audience what they want, but also it is partly creative liberties of all the people working on the movie, but I think those creative stories can be told through nostalgic ways. Ultimately, I think nostalgia brings comfort and connection. I know I love seeing my favorite characters and stories come back to life in different ways, and there's clearly a demand for them. And if those are the movies that are bringing people to the theaters, and that's ultimately what we want, I don't think the main goal should be to do them away with all entirely. I think it should be to make them the best they can be.
Yeah. And I believe that while nostalgia might be comforting, I don't think that comfort is creativity. And I think that the film's reliance on these different remakes proves that they would just want to recycle what they have already done and what works in the past for them. And instead of just taking a risk and possibly doing more bold storytelling than they are right now. And profit doesn't necessarily mean innovation. Like a movie can get a lot of money from the box office, but that doesn't mean that it might be like the best storytelling in any movie that you might have seen. And I just think that culture doesn't move forward by just telling the same stories over and over again, but I just think that it should bring in more original possibilities and more bold storytelling.